What if a Supreme Court victory could actually become a political disaster? What if Greg Abbott's triumph, 5 new Republican seats in Texas, wasn't what it seemed? That's exactly the risk Republicans now face, and it all starts with Jasmine Crockett. When she responded to the Supreme Court's decision on Texas redistricting, she didn't just push back. She issued a warning, one that has Republican strategists quietly reconsidering their assumptions behind closed doors. Before we dive in, hit that subscribe button, because what you're about to hear isn't just political news. It's a blueprint for how setbacks can become opportunities and how one voice can mobilize an entire electorate. Early Friday morning, the news broke like a political earthquake. The Supreme Court ruled that Texas could use its newly drawn redistricting maps for the 2026 midterm elections. These weren't just any maps, they were maps a federal panel had already deemed discriminatory. Maps that diluted minority voting power across multiple districts. Maps that effectively eliminated Jasmine Crockett's district as it currently exists. Abbott's reaction was instant, triumphant, and loud. Texas is officially and legally more red. Conservative media erupted. Social media exploded. Republicans celebrated like they had just delivered a knockout blow. Comments flooded in. Mission accomplished. Democrats outmaneuvered. Texas locked in for a decade. And for Crockett specifically, the online crowd was merciless. She's done. Fired by the map. Bye-bye. It was the kind of raw political victory lap that only one side could enjoy. Until Crockett spoke. Her first tweet didn't scream anger. It didn't beg for sympathy. It was deliberate, precise, and strategic. She framed the Supreme Court's decision not as a final verdict, but as a procedural pause. A temporary measure while the case continues. She reminded everyone, 3 federal judges had already found these maps discriminatory. The court hadn't said the maps were fair. It hadn't said they were constitutional. It had simply allowed them to be used for now. Crockett didn't just challenge the ruling. She dismantled the entire narrative of Republican victory. They hadn't won the argument. They had only won the right to temporarily use maps that were still under legal scrutiny. And that distinction, it mattered. Then came the warning that would turn her response from defensive to offensive. These maps, she said, were like political Russian roulette. Tightened districts, narrowed margins, aggressive lines drawn under the assumption voters wouldn't fight back. Her metaphor wasn't accidental. It was devastating. Crockett suggested the GOP had been so aggressive in trying to secure an advantage that they'd created vulnerability in the districts they assumed were safe. And she had proof. Look at Tennessee. Safe Republican seats, they're nearly flipped when voter turnout surged, shrinking margins to single digits. Aggressive gerrymandering can backfire, and Crockett made it clear that Texas could be next. The warning wasn't just theoretical. Behind the scenes, Republican incumbents in Texas were quietly bowing out of 2026 races. Retirements that normally go unnoticed suddenly had meaning. These were politicians looking at redrawn districts and thinking twice about risking a loss in seats they thought were safe. Crockett's point landed. If Republicans themselves lack confidence, why should anyone else believe Abbott's declarations of victory? Her message was simple. Maps might be drawn, courts might rule, politicians might celebrate, but the final say belongs to the people. Her tweets didn't just challenge politicians. They energized voters. Tens of thousands of shares. Comment sections flooded with support from Black and Latino voters who felt seen, heard, and validated. Voter registration surged. Donations flowed to races that had been previously dismissed as unwinnable. Even Republican incumbents began acting differently, emphasizing independence and local issues, classic signs of worry, not confidence. Crockett had flipped a potential defeat into a mobilization campaign. And the momentum wasn't limited to her district. Crockett's House district may disappear in 2026, but that doesn't mean her political career ends. In fact, it might mean the exact opposite. Statewide races can't be contained by redistricting. Gerrymandering can't protect anyone in a Senate or statewide race. And with the national platform she's built, Crockett could challenge Republicans in arenas they thought they controlled. Her tweets weren't just a warning, they were a promise. She would organize. She would fundraise. She would mobilize voters to prove the maps were beatable. And that promise carried a powerful political subtext. If Republicans think these maps guarantee power, they are in for a surprise. Crockett concluded with a statement that framed everything. "The final say belongs to the people of Texas." That simple phrase carries enormous weight. It transcends gerrymandering. It transcends Supreme Court decisions. Maps are temporary. Courts are procedural. Politicians can celebrate, but ultimately voters decide. And voters were listening. Early signs indicated that the political bullet Crockett warned about might be heading straight for the districts Republicans thought were safe. For Greg Abbott, celebrating too soon may have been his first mistake. For Jasmine Crockett, being fired by the map might be the launchpad for a much bigger political fight. Maps don't vote. People do. And when voters feel their voices matter, even the most carefully drawn lines can fail. If this story showed you why premature victory celebrations can backfire, hit that like button and subscribe. Share this video with anyone who needs to understand one simple truth. Elections aren't decided on paper, they're decided at the ballot box. And when people fight back, even the rules of the game can change.